to you, a nice human being watching my video. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about Persist IQ, and I'm gonna share some thoughts and feelings I had while using it. So to begin, I want to say that I really enjoyed their personalized approach while setting up the account. So there was I guess 14 questions about the ways I try to use Persist IQ and what I want to do with it and how do I learn about them and things like this. And what I liked even more than these questions is the ability to skip them. So there were like 3 or 4 questions I answered, and then I had an ability to just proceed with my trial, and I really liked it because I don't feel like I owe my time to Persist IQ. I don't feel like I have to answer to their questions to get somewhere. So this really works with me personally, the ability to answer or not answer to certain questions. Then let's proceed to something that I didn't quite like. As soon as I created my account, it turned out to be in the team of my 2 colleagues, yes, that already have an account with Persist IQ. And as soon as I logged in, I thought that I have a bunch of contacts of Alex Panchuk. And I really didn't appreciate it because there was no ability to choose it. So that was by default. And I might as well just not want to use Persist IQ in parentheses team edition public mode. Yeah, maybe I want to have my contacts private. Maybe I didn't want to see Alex's or Alex's contacts. So this lack of ability to choose how I want to run my sequence or how I want to manage my account really disappointed me. This should not happen on default. And then what else I really, really disliked is the whole hustle and misery of connecting an email account. Now, I have worked almost 2 years in support, and I thought that not many things can surprise me when it comes to email account connectivity. However, it was and still is a total nightmare. So I'm going to show it to you here as well. When I try to set up my mail account, it's not connected. I try to connect it. It just says, well, activate yourself on the company settings. I go to the company settings and I type in the name of my company. And then I have insufficient permissions to do so. Contact admin. So this was so unclear and absolutely, unclear and frustrating, I would call it. Then I, of course, figured out that I should activate myself here after some research, which I'm unable to do because apparently we can only have one active seat per team. And that seat is already taken by Alex. But if we go back here where it's the personal settings and the mailbox, like this is a completely unhelpful unhelpful notification under company settings. Like go to user management, or better just give a link here so I know where to go. Like from this sentence, it was completely unclear what to do. So that took me a while. And if, for instance, I was in a sales manager or an SDR looking for a tool, after 5 minutes of this confusion, I would close the tool and open another one. I would not have continued to look for it. But not everything is that sad and bad about Persist IQ. There were some things that I really liked. For example, when you upload a file, which by the way can not only be CSV but also Excel, XLS, which I think is also a very good idea. So when you upload a file, it automatically shows you if there is an error. It automatically shows you what's wrong, like what is the problem. It highlights red, and I think this is a terrific idea because, again, I will refer to my support experience, of course. So many people were unable to see why this contact is skipped, what is it a duplicate of, and they just get a CSV that they need to compare and whatever, or when some field is of a different type, in their CSV than in reply, and then they can get it to work. So this would all be easier managed if they actually would see the highlighted error and see what the problem is. So I really like this. What I though did not like is that the the system automatically mapped my fields in my CSV to the fields in Persist IQ, but they map the fields based on at least some common words. So, for instance, here it linked company name with company Twitter and with company Instagram and whatever. So I think this is a bad idea because I had to manually correct all those while it was not the same field. So it's kind of stupid to map things that just have one word in common, right? So that I didn't really like. And what though I enjoyed is while importing a file, the ability to choose the prospect owner for the new prospect. Like as we know, we're trying to grow and to target agencies and bigger companies. I think that this is a feature to steal because, for instance, I'm in our team, I'm responsible for lead generation, yeah, and I get a bunch of like CSV files and all, and I upload it to the system, and then I can just assign, this file is for Katie and this one is for Mickey. So this is rather handy, I would say. And also, I found the ability to automatically opt out all people from the CSV also a very good idea. It is a very common case when they have like a CSV file and they know that in this file they don't want to reach out to anyone. So what they usually do in the context of reply.io, they would upload this file, move to a list, and then select all in list and then blacklist, for instance. And here you can just put one tick, and all the prospects in this file that are uploaded to Persist IQ are automatically opted out. So that I think is a very good idea as well. Okay, and before we go to the variable, I want to say maybe you, my dear viewer, are listening to this and thinking, did she really make 4 slides about a CSV import? That banal, trivial, very basic thing as a CSV import. And I'm going to tell you, yes, I made 4 slides about CSV import because I strongly believe that the devil is in the details. So, of course, you can have a lot of cool features, very attractive and mind-blowing ones, but it's the repetitive, routinous, and the most basic stuff that we do that actually matters for our overall experience. So what I'm saying is, it is really important to polish those processes that we are sure all our users are doing, are repeating over and over. So so that's why I dedicated 4 slides to CSV import because I find it very important to look at the basic stuff, at the main scenario stuff, and at the most unexciting and maybe uninteresting stuff as well. Yeah, and now moving on to what I liked, and that's the variable idea. So here we have the possibility to use sender meeting URL, and in the account info, there is a possibility to enter the URL to Calendly or any other tool you're using, and then you can use it as a variable. I think this is, again, I think it's very useful, especially when you're creating a sequence for different senders and all. So that is a good idea to still. And here, this one I'm gonna show you. This one just is a pleaser, really. A charming feature that, of course, the system itself would work very fine without it, and it's not necessary. And I'm not gonna say that we should implement it, but I wanted to show it because I found it charming and pleasant. So it's a 7-second test. So how does it work? Here, when we go to templates, when we go to templates, we have a possibility to have a 7-second test. So basically, the idea is that a person spends no more than 7 seconds on reading your email, especially if it's called the outreach. So you can select a template that you want to choose, that you want to test, and you get a private link to share. Well, and I'm just gonna paste this link here. and it's like, okay, I have taken this test, so okay, I cannot do it again. But unfortunately, but how it goes, you get my email, you get to read it, and then you have a bunch of questions, like, not many, for so what was the value proposition, what was the most important thing about this email, on and on. And then the sender, so me, gets a little feedback, like what problem did you solve, so what your colleague or what your friend answered to it. Very cool, I would say, useful, I guess, in some sort, but a charming feature. um, okay. I really like their reports as well. I think the only thing the reports are missing is some visuality, because they're all tables. But besides that, I think that's very nicely done, their reports page. And especially here, they have like the ability to see not only the whole prospects call, the prospects email, but also new prospects email and new prospects call. And I think this is very important, because a lot of people want to know if they need to refill their sequence with more contacts, right? And this option here lets you see if you still have new people to email, or you see, okay, so for the past 2 months there were zero new prospect email. Maybe I should go to my sequence and add some new prospects. So this is the logic behind it that I have, and I think this is very cool that they have it, so they can compare. They can also, compare all the prospects emailed to new, and so on. So yeah, that is something I think we also should implement. Here, I also enjoyed seeing the possibility to differentiate between prospect stats and message stats, because right now in our reports, this is an unclear situation. When you're looking like an replied, or when you're looking at open, you're thinking, is this people that open? Is it the email that open? And here it's a clear view of what stats exactly we're checking. And this is also a very cool thing to have. And I would also add opens, but basically this is the time when when most replies were received. So you can see that the breakdown for the days of the week, and then you have the breakdown for the like time slots during the day. And the size of the bubble depicts the amount of emails that were received, the amount of replies that were received. So you can see that, okay, Thursday around 3 p.m. Is around 1 p.m. is a good time to send. So this, and as I said, I would also add open. So I would like get the same chart with replies and with the same chart with opens. I think that would also be useful for us to see when most emails are opened. And here is another charmer. I think that each product should have at least three of those. This little make a wish button for sharing feedback. So you can be on any page or in any section, and you can click make a wish, and you can just say right away what you wish this page did. And we also have an option to submit feedback and submit feature requests, but this is a more organic and a more charming way to do so. Yeah, and one more here to show is the statuses, the ability to create statuses. It's cool to be able to create custom fields, and yes, it's cool to be able to create tags, but even more, think it's important to be able to create statuses, because very often the activity of the prospect in a sequence is based on statuses rather than custom fields. Yeah, so that is something cool that I think they have. Yeah, and triggers. So they have an ability to, force this or that action based on the field updates. So, or like, for instance, a field owner changed, updated to Alex, then add to campaign Alex. Yeah. So this is also a nice automatization piece. And and as usual, I went to G2 Crowd to see what the users said about this solution. And almost every review I have read said that they UI is very intuitive and clear. People were happy about the copper integration. And here I even attached two screenshots because I found it such an insightful thing that people enjoyed it. It has less features. So here you say like, it's super user friendly. All the functionality is there without the fluff that other solutions have. And as well here, Persist cuts out all of the fluff features and only provides the essentials. So apparently there is a substantial amount of people that just like the essentials and they don't like, let's say, too rich opportunity choice for things, and they just want the bare minimum for what they need. And this is cool to know, and this is nice to take into account. For instance, for pricing and creating other plans, maybe we can in the future create a very bare necessities plans for people like these that only want the straightforward features and not much more. So something to think about. And what users don't like, well, there was no ability to add attachments. Yeah, that's a bit weird, I guess. No call recording and no 24/7 support. Those are the most common things that users didn't like. And I guess I'm done here. Thanks a lot for your time. As always, let me know if you had any questions, concerns, or just whatever, want to give me some feedback. So yeah, thanks.